Take 4 because I value you. I want you to have good stuff. You know, they can't get the weather right to save their life here in the Ozarks. The weather apps, the weatherman, nothing. They're always wrong. Not supposed to rain today. Matter of fact, sun's supposed to be out right now. It's raining. So I've done several takes. We're in the workshop. All right. I was watching. Oh, and my hoodie. I'm wearing a hoodie over a t-shirt, and it's almost June. We have had a very long, slow ride into summer here, and I like that. We've had a long, cool, wet spring. Sometimes it goes from winter, meaning layers and knit hat and hood, to summer, meaning, oh my gosh, it's hot, and very little water. So this year's a good year, actually. I'm liking it. It's very comfortable outside. Okay, the draft. I was watching this morning a live stream by Funky Prepper whilst I drank my coffee, because not that much else was going on in the news. Somebody contacted me, one of y'all, and said, backing up from Funky Prepper, said, hey, what about this Chinese, exercise thing? Do you think they're going to invade Taiwan? Words to that effect. Yes, I think they're going to invade Taiwan. I don't think they're going to do it this week. I think the exercise is an exercise. Could be putting final touches on the invasion. I saw some fairly intelligent people say that the window of opportunity for China to invade Taiwan weather-wise, speaking of weather, is like June-ish, July-ish. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if I'm misremembering, but something like that. But anyway, they don't have enough ships surrounding Taiwan right now to do anything. It's just an exercise. But you do exercises to learn. Go back to the tabletop, fix some things, maybe try it again. So I was watching Funky Prepper. He's from the UK. A live stream this morning, and he was talking about the draft because I don't claim to know the people because I don't care. Sunak, Sunni, somebody, they're running, they have an election coming up in 4th of July. Great day in British history. And I guess the Tories, who is, correct me if I'm wrong, that's their conservative people, right? The Tories, you got Tories and Labor. Labor's like the almost commies. I know somebody's going to correct me, but it's roughly true. The Tories are saying, yeah, we need to bring back the military draft. And he was reading over the plan and that, and I'm not going to steal his thunder. If you want to know the details on their plan, go back and look at it. But I remember when I was still active duty, my last duty assignment, I was the only Green Beret on active duty in a medium-sized organization, a couple hundred people. There were a couple retired Green Berets, and we hung out. But I was the only one, and I had a boss who was a retired reserve logistics guy, I think. But he was my boss, civilian boss. And I made him mad one day. Somehow we got talking about the draft, and this was back, 2001, 2002, somewhere back there. And I said, well, I won't be happy if they draft my son, but I won't fight it. But I will become a very effective war protester if they try to draft my daughters. Oh, he got mad. I guess he was already woke. What nation, what type of nation does not defend its women and children, regardless of whether they want that defense or not? Women and children are society's precious cargo. It's how we advance as a society, and they need protecting. And so the thought of drafting women right off the bat is a non-starter with me. Boom. That's number one. Number two, I don't know where I stand now on if you tried to draft my son anymore, because who does and I'm talking United States, you can put your own country in and ponder these deep thoughts yourself if, you're not an American. Um, who does the army, who does the military truly serve? If you look at what's running our nation right now and what the entity, uh, stands for, do you want to fight for that? I mean, I remember I came into the Army in the early 80s, 1980s, and there were many people uh, who had served under the draft. There were still a few people who had been drafted and decided to stay, but not many. But there were many. Most of my NCOs were Vietnam vets. Most of the lieutenant colonels and up were Vietnam veterans. And so they had all served under the draft, meaning in a military where a bulk of the people were draftees. They all said to a man, there is no way we ever want to do a draft again. The quality of people you get sucks with a draft. Now, the reason they want a draft is many and sinister in some ways. One, going back on the other hand, if you have a nation and you believe in nation states, and I do so less and less anymore, but if you have a nation, it needs to have a military to protect it. If you have a crew, you need to have the ability to defend the crew, not just the individuals in the crew. You got to, just think about it. And so the nation needs to defend itself, and therefore you need a minimum amount of people, whatever that is, to man your military. And if we can't get them to join, then we draft them and we make them join, or, we punish them if they don't. Well, it seems to me that if you have to force people to serve in your military, your messaging sucks, right? You're not convincing people that they need to serve. And I'm no longer convinced. I, by and large, enjoyed my career in the military, by and large. But I started seeing things towards the end. One, they sent me to school and got me smarter. That was dangerous. And two, the world was changing and our nation was changing. And I saw things to the point that my children did not even consider going into the military, and I would have put all my parental pressure on them to keep them from doing so had they been leaning that way. And historically is like my generation probably and back, the children of career military people, whether that's NCOs or officers, decent chance they're going to go in the military. Hey, you got to follow your father, right? You're going to do what dad did. That's not happening anymore because it's not the same military. It's not the same government. The things they want you to go die for, and make no mistake, when you are in the military, you are signing your life over to the state. I will go do what the state tells me to do, and I will die if need be. In the defense of, some highfalutin word, corporate America. No. So what's the sinister reason? They can't get people to join because the military sucks. I've talked about that before too. If you want to get guys, and let's face it, everybody and I'm Army centric because I spent 20 years in the Army. Everybody in the Army supports the infantry, except sometimes they support armor. But mostly they support the infantry, even special forces. At the end of the day, everybody's supporting the infantry. Queen of battle. Queen as in chessboard. Anymore? Who the hell knows? They probably do mean queen like, LMNOP. And therein lies the problem. If you want people to sign up, to go out there in the rain and run around with, 70 pounds on their back and wet, cold, hot bugs, carrying a rifle in the woods, and deserts and swamps and mountains, there's a certain kind of man that finds that interesting, fun, worthy. Number one, we don't have a lot of those men left in our society anymore. It's a bunch of soy boys sitting around playing on their computer. Number two, those types of men come with attitude, their own attitude and culture, if you will, and things like that. And this LMNOP crap, that don't float. No, they're not going to sign up to be surrounded by a bunch of soy boys and soy girls and people who are confused as to their sexuality, dye their hair green and blue and yellow, and they don't want to be around those people. And there are still men like that in this country. They're mostly in the rural areas doing things like ranching and farming and logging and stuff like, and working in the oil fields and stuff like that. Oh, all those professions have also been infiltrated by the soy boys. But there's still real men out there, but they don't want to play with that crap. They're like, no, I'll just stay home, shoot my guns at home. And so when you look at those two things, you can't get people to join. And like I talked about earlier, with resilience, national resilience, our country, the powers that be in the West are doing the exact opposite of trying to build national resilience. They're tearing the country apart. They're fragmenting it. They're dividing and conquering. And in doing so, nobody wants to serve that hot mess. Nobody wants to go sacrifice for that. The other sinister reason is control. Who do you want to control? Your young population. Old people, I can't run very far or very fast anymore. They're not really worried about me. It's the young people, man. You look at who was in the street burning down the city. Useful idiots, but they get them pointed in the wrong direction, according to the powers that be, and they have a problem on their hands, right? Right now, they're controlled opposition. They're not even opposition. They're just controlled. Supposedly, I don't give 100% to this theory, but I'm not far off it. They, the elites, the powers that be, whoever, want to depopulate greatly the earth. They want to get rid of all these useless eaters, right? Let's just have our little slave drones, and then we can live a highfalutin life, and all this rabble out there that's so destructive and disturbing, and I don't even like looking at them, Brad. So they want to depopulate the earth. Well, there's two historically, in the course of human history, historically wonderful ways to depopulate. 3. Sounds like 3 of the 4 horsemen. Plague, war, and famine. Well, I have said forever that a war with North Korea, should it come, is going to kill a lot of Americans. It is going to be a chemical, biological, and to a degree, nuclear war that is going to kill, in a bad way, a lot of people. War pigs comes to mind. I think that's coming. And you're not even seeing anything. I mean, sure, Kim, Rocket Man just launched another rocket, but you're not seeing a whole lot about North Korea. I think that if that's their plan, to kill a lot of people, that will do it. And that will then, we have to send the draft. And I just tell you this, what business do we have anymore in Korea? Let the Koreans defend themselves. They're a very vibrant economy, South Korea. Let them defend themselves from North Korea. What business do we have? We have no business in Ukraine. Matter of fact, we started that. And if you don't understand that, I'll do another video on it later. But Ukraine's all our fault. The fact that Ukrainians are dying is our fault, the United States' fault. Can't leave well enough alone. There's a war coming with Russia. They want one badly. See, the elites aren't worried about a nuclear war. They know where they're going. They know, and they're bringing their peeps, and they've got wine and champagne, and they got the good life down there. And then you will do what you're told, slave. They want it. And Russia doesn't want it, but they will oblige. China, I don't like China. I think China's got evil intent. I think Russia just wants to be left the heck alone. I think China's got evil intent. And we're going to see that. We're going to see it. It's all going to come. Them chickens are going to come home to roost. And to feed the war machine, they're going to want to draft people. I'm telling you right now, draft is horrible. You don't get quality soldiers. You don't get to pick who you're serving. And these are my thoughts. And when I see people, you can still get recalled, and that's just a bunch of... They're going to draft our young people. They're going to draft our young people. Now, if somebody's invading the homeland and driving their tanks down our streets and killing our people, if there's a group out there that is killing our women and children and burning and stuff like that, I'm all about it, man. Let's go. But I don't think you'd have a problem getting people to join under those circumstances. Of course, that's kind of happening already, isn't it? Nobody's doing anything about it. I think we're going to see some stuff along those lines soon also, unfortunately. Or fortunately. You tell me. All right, that's enough rambling. I got stuff to do, even though it's raining. I will see you out there.